And you feel it, even if you don't want to admit it. It's not coincidence, it's not the weather, it's a connection that time couldn't erase. The rain begins, and something changes. In the body, in the breath, in the memory that activates all on its own. This person doesn't need to force it. They're not trying to think of you, it's just that the memory comes naturally, strongly, inevitably, because it was there, in that rain. On that day that didn't seem so important, but was. You got stuck in that moment, in that gaze that lingered too long, in that word that hung in the air between the two of you. And now, when it rains, everything returns. This person could be smiling, distracted, busy with another life. But as soon as the sky darkens, you reappear internally, not in name, not in a photo, but in the feeling. Some things do not fade, they just sleep until the rain falls again. You know this. You know that even if you never speak again, there's a place where you continue to exist. And maybe they feel the same at the same hour in the same absence. Because when the rain hits, the body senses it. And what this person feels is what you left behind. This person doesn't talk about it, but they feel. And that says it all. And it's no use trying to disguise it. It's not just any memory. It's not a common recollection. It's something that penetrates, that stirs, that enters without permission. It doesn't start in the mind. It starts in the body. In that involuntary pause that happens when the sound of rain fills the space, time shifts, and everything changes inside. You feel it. Even if you try to rationalize, distract, ignore, you feel it. Because there's something there that was never resolved, something that remains open, loosely tied, unfinished, and it's always the rain that brings it back. It doesn't matter where this person is, who they are with. It doesn't matter how many days have passed or how many new stories have emerged. You reappear. At the exact moment the sky darkens, in the sound of raindrops against the glass, in that blend of cold, calm, and restlessness. This person doesn't think, I'm going to remember them now. There's no command like that. There's just an automatic recognition, physical, almost spiritual, as if the rain had a code, and the name that this code deciphers is yours, because it was in that rain, or in some rain like it, because it was on a grey day, in a subtle gesture, in a shared silence. It was there that this person felt you in a way they've never felt anyone else. Maybe you didn't even realize it, but it was in that moment that everything changed, and since then, to every time it rains, something comes back. Maybe the whole scene, maybe just a feeling, maybe the regret of having let you go, or the longing for what didn't happen as it could have. This person doesn't reach out, doesn't send a message, doesn't say your name. But when it rains, you appear. Do you notice this in yourself too? Or do you pretend you've moved on? Because some things don't disappear. They just hide on sunny days. But the rain reveals. It reveals what was truly felt, what was tattooed on the emotional, what even time couldn't dissolve. And maybe you think all this is an exaggeration. Maybe you've moved on in a hurry. Maybe you faked it so much that you started to believe you forgot. But realize every time you smell the wet earth, someone is feeling you. It's not just about longing. It's about presence. It's about the mark that a story leaves, even if it was brief, even if it was confusing, even if no one said goodbye properly. This person feels you in the rain, because it was in the rain that they saw you in a way no one else did. It was there that a part of them recognized a part of you, and no one has ever occupied that place, no matter how much they tried. Maybe they don't even consciously know this, but the body knows, the emotions know, and when the rain starts, everything manifests again. Do you sense this? Have you ever felt someone like this? That memory that doesn't wait for an invite, that just walks in, without warning. Let this flow out of you. You will be surprised by what is still alive inside, because what you feel also feels you. And what this person feels, you've already noticed. There may be no more photos, there may be no more conversations, there may be blocks, distance, silence, other names involved, but there's one thing that no one controls: the rain, and what it activates. This person doesn't cry anymore, but there's an emptiness that resurfaces when the sky cries for them. It's as if the external world has its own memories, as if nature also remembers you. Have you noticed that? When it starts to rain, a part of you falls silent too. You slow down, you become more introspective, more melancholic, and maybe you think it's the weather, but it's not. It's the soul responding to something that was never resolved. It's your unconscious opening up. Because it's there, in the absence of noise, in the pause of the world, that the heart begins to speak again. And the name that echoes out is still the same. This person knows they can't go back in time. They know a lot has changed, that today is no longer the yesterday you tried to save. But when it rains, the feeling ignores the calendar and returns as if it just happened. Do you feel that too? You've tried not to feel, but you couldn't. You disguise it well. But you can't fool that part of you that still vibrates with the name that no longer speaks out loud. And if I told you that this person feels it too, not because they want to, but because they have no choice, because everything that was real leaves a mark. Even without wanting to, even without knowing, the rain doesn't ask, it just shows. And what it shows is that there's still something of yours inside this person, even if everything outside says otherwise. Do you remember that day when you felt an anxiety for no reason? That restlessness in the middle of the afternoon? That sudden urge to look back? It wasn't for nothing. It was the emotional reacting to the presence of a memory that hasn't finished healing. You don't need to respond to this now. Just notice. Realize how much your story still lives in places you forgot to visit. Notice how much this person still carries feelings that can't be explained, but they are felt, with intensity. And if it doesn't make sense to you yet, wait for the rain, you'll understand everything. If you've been through something similar, tell me. There are more people feeling what you feel, but no one talks about it because everyone learned to pretend they moved on, but they haven't. They just blended into their routine. The truth is that certain people never really leave us. They simply transform into silence, into sensation, into sensory memory. And when it rains, they come back. Not with messages, not with calls, not with visible gestures. They come back from within. They return in the invisible touch that scratches inside your chest, in that feeling that no one sees but consumes. They return as if they never left, and you feel it. Even if you're with someone else, even if you've told yourself you forgot, that person appears in your absence. When you grow quiet, when you stop pretending everything is fine, when no one is watching, it's in that place that they reside, in the silence between what you show and what you carry. Because deep down, there's a part of you that stayed there, trapped within them, stuck, not by choice, but because it wasn't possible to close the door. And when the rain starts, her soul begins to call out to you, but not with words, with presence, and you realize. Even if you don't want to, you realize. You notice that something tightens, that something chills, that the day weighs heavy. And then you ask yourself, why am I feeling this now? Why today? Why at this moment? But you already know. You know it's her. You know it's that part of you that never left the story. It just hid away. You've also noticed that sometimes life sends signals, but not everyone pays attention. The rain is one of them. And you know. You know that when it starts to rain, you're not alone anymore. That person is there, feeling, remembering, and asking themselves if you feel it too. Do you also find yourself wondering, does she think of me? Does she feel the same way? Does she still remember what we had? And deep down, you know the answer is yes. But you're afraid to believe it, because if you believe, you'll have to face everything that's still unresolved. And there are parts of you that you'd rather keep quiet, even if they continue to throb, even if her presence still crosses your mind in silence. But the rain doesn't respect that. It has no mercy for what you've repressed. It comes and opens up, unearths, makes sure to remind you, because there are memories that hide in scents, in sounds, in textures. And the rain has all of that. It's the soundtrack of the most intense days, the backdrop of what was truly felt, the liquid memory of everything you've tried to contain. That person hasn't left. She's just stored away somewhere else. Outside of your routine, perhaps, but not outside of you. And every time the sky darkens, you feel that she's still close. That person knows that she lost something that won't happen again, knows that no matter how hard she tries, she'll never feel the same way again. And it's not about going back, it's not that. It's about recognizing that there are stories that never fade, that become internal tattoos, that live in spaces no one else can reach. You realize this, right? Because there are people who, even from a distance, still resonate with your frequency. And there are feelings that, even forgotten in memory, remain alive in the body. The rain knows this. You do too. You feel it. Feel it when everything goes silent and your heart still screams. Feel it when that person's name pops into your mind, uninvited. Feel it when your body reacts before your mind tries to hold back. That person doesn't talk to you anymore. Doesn't look, doesn't write, doesn't ask. But she feels, and so do you, even in silence, even from a distance, even pretending that you've turned the page. You haven't turned it. You locked it away, filed it away, pushed it into the dark corner of your consciousness. But when it rains and that door opens, and you find yourself again in that place where everything was real, even if it hurt, even if it was confusing, it was real, and everything that is real and comes back sooner or later. This person might even smile at others. They might post, live, reinvent themselves, but there's a part of them that only you accessed, and no one else could. You know what it is. You know what they showed you. You know what they let you see, even if unintentionally. It was in that part that you got stuck, and maybe that's why, even after all this time, you still return to that place. It's not a choice. It's a reaction. It's emotional memory. The kind that the brain forget, but the heart won't let go. This person, when they feel the rain, doesn't think about coming back. They feel you without needing to decide. It's automatic. It's instinctive. It's as if the world says, look, he still lives here. And you feel that call, even if you tell yourself there's nothing left. But there is, and you know it. If there wasn't, this message wouldn't reach you like this. You would have closed the window. You would have looked away. But you stayed. You're here reading. Because there's still something you want to understand, something you want to feel again, or something you want finally to let go. But you can't let go, because deep down, it's still too important to release. This person feels that too. Maybe on a Sunday, maybe in the late afternoon, maybe on cloudy days when they can't explain why they feel calmer. But it's you. It's you who still resonates within them, as a memory, as an absence, as that which could have been, but wasn't. Can you perceive that? You still live in the place where you were most genuine. And maybe you've never been so much yourself since then. Maybe that's why you miss it. Not just them, but who you were alongside them. This person saw parts of you that no one else saw. They embraced parts you no longer show, and left marks that even time couldn't erase. That's why the rain hurts, because it brings you back, but doesn't reveal you. It just shows you, and then it disappears, and you're left there with that knot. With that feeling that something is still alive, even if it can no longer happen. But it can, not in the same way, but in another way. If you let it, if you have the courage to open up, that person hasn't forgotten you. They've just learned to live with what's left. But there are days, like there are nights, and there are rains, when they can't pretend. And you notice. You feel it in the air, like right now. And there's still something you need to understand about all of this. It's not weakness, it's not neediness, it's not delusion. It's simply what remains when a truth hasn't been lived to the end. It's the echo of something that still needed to happen but was cut short. It's the part of you that doesn't want to forget. Because forgetting would mean erasing who you were in that moment. That person doesn't return because they don't want to. But they also don't erase you because they can't. And you keep feeling, even when you try to deny it. Because there are connections that don't follow time, they follow the heart. And the heart doesn't know how to pretend. So every time it rains, something visits you, not to hurt you, but to remind you of who you really are. When you are open, when you are whole, when you're not hiding behind the masks you created to protect yourself, that person remembers you because somehow they still feel you. And even as time passes, even as other people come and go from their life, you are still there. On rainy days, in the silences that no one else understands, in the spaces between one memory and another. That's where you live. And if something in you felt this just now, then it wasn't by chance. If this video spoke to you, comment below, I felt it, or write in the comments, when it rains, I remember, and finish with your truth. This isn't just a video, It's a conversation between parts of your soul that were silent, and that now need to be heard. I want to know what you felt with this content. Comment below, because your story can heal someone else too. Subscribe to the channel now, because here every week you'll find messages that don't speak to the mind, they speak to the heart. Drop a like if this touched something in you. It shows that this content needs to keep reaching those who feel the same way you do. And share it with that person you know needs to hear this. The one who may not have the courage to say it, but feels all of this silently.